Hi, America, and welcome to Bank Black Live from OneUnited Bank in Miami. I'm Kaylin Chapman-James, and this evening I'll be your moderator as we learn more about the Bank Black movement from our guests, Terry Williams, the President and Chief Operating Officer of OneUnited Bank in Miami, and Travian Shorters, President and Chief Executive Officer of the Be Me community. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're so glad you all joined us this evening. Now, we do have a couple of rules for the Facebook Live. We're going to hear from Terry and Travian mostly this evening, but then we'll answer questions from those pre-submitted on OneUnited Bank's website and their Facebook page. And some of them, we may get to some questions in real time. Make sure that you can post the questions on the Facebook Live because we'll have a chance to answer some of those. But if we don't get to those, because we have quite a few that were pre-submitted, they're going to have answers to all of the questions that were submitted on their website. So you can always go to oneunited.com. You can leave your email address and they'll answer all of your questions. So just so you get that, post your questions. We're live, so we will receive them. And if we don't get to them, don't worry. You can always sign up to get the emails with the blog articles and answers to those questions. Now, let's get to our guests. What can I say about Terry Williams besides she's one bad sister? That is true. But she's also the leader of the Bank Black movement, and she's a true visionary who's been doing this for more than 20 years. She's working to build generational wealth in our communities, and it was way before Killer Mike started telling y'all to wake up last year, and when he urged Black America to open accounts in Black banks and to stop protesting, but instead move your dollars to the Black community. So Terry was way ahead of Killer Mike, so you know he ain't got nothing on Terry. Now, we are here 6 months later with this movement, and we're really getting stronger with it every day. Terry, tell them a bit more about yourself.
Sure. First of all, I want to say thank you all for tuning in, and we have a wonderful group of people here in Miami, and I just want to thank everyone. I want to say hi to Boston, shout out to Boston, and shout out to LA, shout out to Chicago, Philly, Houston, Dallas. I can say shout out to every city in the country, Hawaii, Atlanta, because we really do have customers from all over the country. As Kaylin was so wonderful in introducing me, I am Terry Williams. I am not only the president and COO of OneUnited Bank, I'm also the owner of OneUnited Bank. And I have to say this is a very emotional, hopefully I won't tear up, but this is a very emotional experience for me because you all have just been fabulous and really moving your money and really participating in a movement. We're connected now. We're all connected, and we are actually what we have been waiting for, which is really people to move our money and to really be purposeful about how we use our money. OneUnited Bank is the largest Black-owned bank in the country. I'm Black.
So it's real. It's really, you're looking at the owner. She is Black.
Yeah. We're the largest Black-owned bank in the country. We have offices in Boston and Miami here, as well as in LA, but we also, you can open up an account with us online and really within a matter of minutes, move your money to whatever bank you're banking with to OneUnited Bank. One of the things that we also talk about is that we want you to not just move your money, we want you to move your mind. We want you to start focusing on how your money is being used, and not only to bank Black, but to buy Black, and to use your money to really build wealth in our community. As Kaylin mentioned, I've been doing this for, seems like I'm just young, 20 years.
Right, you started when you were 3.
Yes,
we
exactly.
Understand.
For those that, don't know my background, I am the first person in my family to go to college. So I didn't grow up with a silver spoon in my mouth. I actually went to college on scholarships. I went to Brown University. I went to Harvard Business School. I went and worked at Bank of America, American Express, and eventually took all the experience that I had at Harvard and American Express and Bank of America and decided to bring them back to our community to show us how to build wealth. So I am just happy to be here, and I'm really thankful to all of you in this room, as well as all of you online on Facebook, that you are sharing this experience with us.
Thank you, Terry. What did I say? Brown, Harvard. She is truly amazing, a visionary, and it's an honor for me to be here tonight, not only to get a glimpse into your brilliant financial mind, but also into the minds of your partners who are brilliant as well. And that brings me to Travian Shorters. Travian is the co-author of the New York Times bestseller, Reach, 40 Black Men Speaking on Living, Leading, and Succeeding. And he's also the founding chief executive officer of Be Me Community, a national network of all races and genders committed to a 21st century narrative about America, its values, and Black men's role in them. Thank you, Travian, for being here.
Glad to be here. Thank you.
Tell us a bit more about Be Me Community.
Yeah. So, should I be facing this way?
Yeah, talk to the people out there.
Yeah. So, Be Me is based on the answer to a question that's really important to anything that you want to do in life. And the question is, who do you think you are? Because the answer to that question will decide where you will go, where you won't go, who your friends will be and who your friends won't be, what you will believe and what you will refuse to believe. So we believe in valuing all members of the human family, recognizing Black men as important members of that human family, rejecting narratives that denigrate anyone, and then working together on the things that we all care about. And on that question of the things that we all care about, when BME was being formed, we actually polled the different communities that we're in, and we asked Black men specifically, what are things that if we were willing to fund you, you would work on, even if nobody else was working on them? And we got thousands of answers to that question, actually. And then we looked at the data, and we found that when it comes to brothers, the things that we care about that we will work on, even if nobody else was engaged, break down into 5 big buckets. The first is youth development, then comes education, then comes economic opportunity, then comes issues of public safety and justice, and then comes issues of the environment. So these are the things that we found that Black men care enough about to take action, even when no one else is taking action. And then we stepped back and we said, well, what about this list is only Black men, right? Who doesn't care about youth development and education and economic opportunity and public safety? And we realized that Black men literally care about and lead on things that everybody cares about. Every community wants these things. But for some reason, when we tell the story about who Black men are, they're always juxtaposed as the opponent or the threat or the problem to the community's well-being. So then we dug in further at the data, and we found that Black men do lead in the rates that they are being incarcerated compared to other groups. Black men also lead in the rate that they serve this country in uniform. No one has a higher percentage of their men as military veterans than Black men do. We found that Black men lead in the rates of the growth in business creation in the country. We found that Black men lead in the rate of engagement with their children. There are no men in this country who are more directly engaged with the rearing of their children than are Black men. So we found that if you're going to point out the negative about a people based on some rate or some percentage, then let's say it this way: if Black men can be the face, or Black men and boys can be the face of poverty, right? Because a higher percentage of them are experiencing it, then why aren't we the face of patriotism since we lead the country in that category? Why aren't we the face of entrepreneurship since we lead the country in that category? Why aren't we the face of engagement with our families since we lead the nation in that statistic? And so Be Me is all about telling the truth. We want to build a better future about America based on a truth about how we actually live, who we actually are, what we actually think of ourselves, and where we actually want to go. So we now operate the largest fellowship in social entrepreneurship in the country for Black men. There's 160 in 6 cities. One of those cities is Miami. And those men we call Be Me leaders are doing amazing things, and they come from all these different backgrounds. Some of the brothers are Fortune 500 execs. Some of the brothers have started their own businesses. Some of them have recently returned from being incarcerated, and they're committed to the well-being of their communities and their future. We fund them all, we network them all, we believe in them all, and we try to build a better society. Last year, our Be Me leaders directly helped 600,000 families in the 6 cities that we're in. And that's what Be Me is about, and that's why we're partnered with OneUnited.
I learned something tonight. I mean, some of those statistics, with us being the highest in the military, I had no idea about that. You just don't hear those things.
And let me tell you about the radical sources we got these from. Right? So the radical source on the rate that Black men serve in the military is from the U.S. Army. The radical statistic about Black men being the most engaged in rearing their children comes from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Wow. And the statistic around the rate at which businesses are being created comes from the United States Census. So these are these are our pro-Black sources.
Right. Well, thank you so much for having Be Me community here in Miami, especially, and around the country. The work you do is important in changing the way we view ourselves.
Amen.
All right. So now let's get down to the nitty-gritty of it all. The reason why we're here. Bank Black. We're going to answer some questions from those pre-submitted on OneUnited Bank's Facebook page, and we're going to make sure to post the questions. We're going to ask people to post questions now so we can also get to those. And remember, you can always get answers if you don't hear them tonight or if you want to learn more. on OneUnited.com. You can leave your email address, and they'll email you the blogs that they'll be creating based not only on this discussion, but also from other questions they've received from you and possibly from some of the members of our audience, because we do have a great group of people here with us tonight. All right, we're going to get started. Now, our first question is on general banking. So, Terry, I'm going to direct this one to you. It's from Facebook, from Marcus B. He asks, will hashtag #BankBlack improve the black wealth gap?
That's a great question, and the short answer is yes. And I think one of the things that we as a community may not understand is the role that banks have in a community. Our role is really to recycle our dollars and channel those dollars back into the community for growth. So we take your deposits, which I also want to make sure everyone understands, when you deposit with us, it's still your money. So you're moving your money to us, but it is still your money. But we take deposits and we actually channel those deposits back into loans to help our community build wealth. And it's not just our community, every community does this. So by doing this, by actually banking black, you are not only giving us more deposits that we have to lend, and just as an example for numbers, and we're talking about statistics, last year from the Bank Black movement, we attracted $20 million in deposits. Huge from our community in a very, very short period of time. Just to juxtaposition that from what we lent, last year we lent $150 million. We grew our loan portfolio by $50 million. So we are taking money, all the money that you deposit in OneUnited Bank is actually lent out to the community. The majority of it goes to low to moderate income as well as black and Hispanic communities. So by moving your money, we are providing loans to help people buy homes and build wealth. But let me also say one other thing that everyone should understand about this movement is that we are starting to use our money purposefully, but we are not alone. If you look at Asian American owned banks, the largest Asian American owned bank is $30 billion. The largest Hispanic American owned bank is $20 billion. The largest African American owned bank, OneUnited, is $650 million. So we as a community are really following the lead of others. And the reason that they're doing it is because they understand that that's how you build wealth. By banking black, by buying black, you help our community build wealth.
I know there was a statistic, and I can't repeat it, but I bet you know it, about how long the black dollar stays in our community compared to other communities.
Yeah. So they actually, Maggie Anderson, who did this fabulous book, Our Black Year, where her family tried to buy black for a whole year. And what she learned from this experience is that our dollars circulate in our community for only 6 hours before those dollars circulate out. If you look at the Asian American community, their dollars circulate in the community for 28 days. In other words, they spend their dollars within their community before those dollars circulate out. Only 2% of our $1.2 trillion in spending power is actually spent in our community. 98% of it is spent outside of our community. And if you think about it yourself, as I say, people get paid, they might go to the barbershop or the hair salon, but the rest of their dollars is spent somewhere else. If we start spending dollars in our community, if we start banking black, if we start buying black, that allows businesses to grow. It allows us to create jobs. It allows us to build wealth in our community. So it is something that, again, other communities learned or knew or have been doing for generations, and it's really something that we need to start doing.
Yes, I agree 100%. Now, partnerships are important, so I want to bring in Trabian now. Trabian, I understand that Be Me Community opened $1 million deposit with OneUnited Bank. That's amazing. Why did you do this? Yes, talk to the little camera over there. I want to know too, but they want to know.
Yeah. Look, it was a no-brainer. So I've heard a lot of people talk about banking black as a kind of protest thing. We think of it as a progress thing. For us to invest in institutions that care about our communities is kind of common sense, right? To whatever extent you feel like it's okay to pay people to treat you bad, you need to seek treatment because that is not constructive, right? So it was very easy for us to understand that a bank like OneUnited, which is committed to our communities, helping our folks to get loans for houses, get loans for businesses, learn about how to repair their credit, have instruments for that. A bank that's set up to do that, why wouldn't we deposit there? So for us, it was very much a no-brainer.
Fantastic. All right, Terry, I'm going back to you, and these are some of the questions that were for OneUnited Bank specifically. Some of these are really great. Well, I think we've answered this one. Are you really black-owned, and who are the owners? We can go ahead and check that off. Here and here, yes, and Terry.
Well, let me also say that I own OneUnited Bank with my husband, who is also black.
Okay.
You know,
Thank you
people
for
wondering. Yeah,
clarifying.
right.
Exactly.
Okay, all right. So next, Karen Davis and Nikki Johnson wanted to know how they open an account online and how can they open an account with OneUnited Bank.
So the whole online banking thing it really raises a question for our community. Yes, you can open up an account online. You can go to OneUnited, O-N-E, OneUnited.com, and literally within 5 minutes you can open up an account. We ask you some questions, we get your information, and we ask you, where you're sort of moving the money from, what bank you're with, and then the money is electronically transferred right to OneUnited Bank. It is safe, so everyone should know that. It is safe, it's secure, and it is the sort of the future of banking. So it is something that we should all become familiar with because it's where banks are going.
Okay. All right. So we're going to take it back over to Travian. And again, these are questions really around partnership.
Sure.
What are some of the ways BME community, in partnership with OneUnited Bank, plan to positively impact our community?
Sure. So there are a few ways. Number one, the fact that people might not understand or realize, it made a big splash. We put $1 million on deposit. But the crazy thing is, it was money that we had. We had to bank it somewhere, right? And so putting it in OneUnited was not an act of charity. This was not a donation to the bank. This was us making a business decision. So we put it,
and it's still your money.
And it's absolutely still our money, and
Right.
it's circulating in our community.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I want to reinforce that. With that said, we've also agreed to partner. OneUnited. Terry's been very quiet about this. She didn't make any fanfare about it. But even tonight, on behalf of the bank, they made a donation to the fellowship that BME operates. So they are sponsoring one of our BME leaders. So it's a mutual thing for us. So one of the things that we're doing is we're going to partner with them around creating funds and helping folks to put their money into the bank and then using that money to help grow businesses in the communities that we're in. We're also doubling down with them on the financial literacy stuff,
Yes.
educating folks around
It's going to be announced tomorrow.
how to
We
repair
have
their
a
credit.
Great financial literacy series. Yeah.
And then we're in DC. BME does an annual conference that OneUnited has partnered on and will show up at and co-sponsor and help us to organize our guys to be smarter about financial literacy and growing wealth. One thing that you didn't ask that I want to go back to, there's this idea that black folks don't understand money or aren't bankable or something like that. But when you look at American history, there's only, outside of white folk, there's no other group that has created more financial institutions in America than black folks, because we were segregated, there was a point where we had to. This is what we did. We created more banks, more insurance companies than anybody else, aside from white folk. More than Asians, more than Jews, or whatever narrative you have that says that somebody else has greener grass than you do. I'm telling you, historically, that just isn't true. And so we believe in BME that the story you tell will create the life that you'll live, meaning that the stories you repeat to yourself will tell you what you can and cannot do. So we have to start telling stories that are about our assets.
And that speaks to that point that you said about, who do you think you are? It's very important that we know who we are, both historically from a financial aspect as well as just our historical standpoint from slavery and that evolution. But I mean, these are things that you're saying that I'm sure a lot of our viewers had no idea about. So we need to look from all aspects of our sort of contributions to society, to our own community.
Absolutely.
Right?
And to the whole country,
Yes,
So,
yes, for sure.
Yes.
Yes.
Don't
get you started.
Don't get me
Slow
started
down,
on that.
Travian. We're gonna go there. We're
It's
gonna
not
go.
America without the black.
Yeah.
So now let's talk a little bit about that, because I often during this last year got a little tired of hearing, more black people kill each other than anything else. Well, this person asked, isn't banking black discriminatory? What if I said bank white? I know it's funny, but they want to know.
Can I go first on that?
Yes, you go first.
So you do bank white. You do bank white. So if you don't think banking white or buying for white business, you don't think you're practicing that to be a racist, then nobody is practicing banking black to be a racist. The fact of the matter is, African Americans spend money in the white community. We support lots of businesses, lots of opportunities in the white community, and we don't complain about it. So for someone who is white to support banking black, and by the way, Terry says it, you don't have to be white, or you don't have to be black to bank black, right? For us to invest in each other's communities, to spend money with each other's businesses, is really just taking color off of our determination of where we will go and what we will do. And so, in BME's mind, it is the opposite of discrimination, right? It's the opposite of racism to be willing to bank wherever your money does the most good.
And isn't America about choices?
I would think.
Isn't it about having the ability to make choices?
I would think.
Right?
Let me add to that. OneUnited Bank, first of all, we are a bank. We are FDIC insured. We are an equal housing lender. We are an equal opportunity employer. Like, you can bank with us, you can borrow money from us, that we treat everyone the same. So this movement is really not about, sort of a negative movement, but what it is about is for us as a black community, knowing that we have black-owned banks, that we actually have products and services that every other bank has, and even better, I like to say our ice is actually colder. So I make no apologies. We are unapologetically black.
Yes. And and it's nice to feel like maybe you're going to walk in and there is at least an equal opportunity for you to get a business loan, and that there are no little to no discriminatory practice. I don't want to say no. I'm just going to say there may be no discriminatory practices, but there will be no. Okay. All right, put that out there.
And you're going to feel at home.
At home is always nice. Okay, so you talked about FDIC, and there was a question related to that. If you are regulated by the FDIC, how can you be black-owned? So that was a nice segue.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. So people should understand that the FDIC is an insurer of your deposits. So your deposits are insured up to $250,000. And they are our regulator. They are important because you should know that a bank that is FDIC insured actually complies with all rules and regulations, but they are not the owner of the bank. And one of the things I think people don't understand about banking is that banks are owned by people. That sometimes people think banks are just out there and they don't think about who owns them. Banks are owned by people. Some of them are publicly traded. But most of them, actually community banks, are privately held, and they are owned by people, largely white people. So there are 21 black-owned banks. We are one of them, but they are owned by people, and that is something separate than being FDIC insured.
Right. So my children are 10 and 14 years old. They do everything online. They want to shop online. They, are always, they're here. This is their whole demeanor. So for the millennials out there who want to know about the ability to operate online, we have also those who are, older, like maybe my mom, who want a branch.
Yeah.
So how do you appeal to both of those? Are you going to open more branches? For people who are far away from the branch that you have, what do we tell them, and also what do we say to the millennials who are accustomed to banking online?
That's a good question, and we get that question a lot. So
let's start with branches. Let's start with branches.
Yeah, let's start with branches. So banking is evolving, just like a lot of other industries. You may remember Blockbuster. Remember Blockbuster? And there was a Blockbuster almost on every corner, right? Everyone went to Blockbuster to rent videos. Now, where's Blockbuster? That's because Netflix, Hulu, and all these new DirecTV, all these new ways of basically getting the same content you were getting from Blockbuster have gone away. And because Blockbuster has gone away. Same thing with like travel agents. Remember, we used to go to a travel agent. So the reality is that technology is truly changing industries. And the majority of people are now moving from banking in a branch to banking online. And we've invested in technology to ensure that you can open up an account with us and you can take a picture of your check and deposit it. You get a debit card. We have 25,000 surcharge-free ATMs, so you can get access to your money. You can look at your money on your cell phone. We have mobile banking. We have text alerts. We have all kinds of ways of banking online. But what's more than that is that a branch actually costs about $500,000 a year to operate. And so we said we can open up a branch and more branches, but what that would do is increase our costs and not allow us to basically keep our fees low and keep our rates that we're paying on our deposits high. If you look at our rates, they're higher than Bank of America, they're higher than Wells Fargo. We pay more in deposits than those institutions. If you look at our fees, they're lower than Bank of America and lower than Wells Fargo. And the reason that that's the case is because we have fewer branches. Would we love to have, I'd love to have a branch, at least one branch in every major market. I'd love to have one in Detroit, Chicago, DC, Atlanta. I'd love to have one branch. And that may come to be as we grow. But what we're focused on now is ensuring that you can bank with us no matter where you are, and that we are investing our money in a way to make it easier as well as, healthier, better for you to bank with us.
Not just as a user and a consumer. So the funny thing, I'm not a millennial, as it turns out. Thank God. But I do use my cell phone, right? And the funny thing about this idea of banking black and what OneUnited does is it actually makes the branch closer. All you have to do is pull out your phone. You can do anything that you need to do immediately. You don't have to wait until the branch opens. You don't have to, deal with the traffic to get there.
You can pay your bills.
All of it.
All
And so
of it.
for me, one of the things that I love about OneUnited is they're already thinking about the future. Like they're not waiting to get here. They're already here, and it's actually more convenient. And I know you want to do branches, but I actually love the fact that we can do everything online, from deposit our checks to everything.
So let's talk a bit about fees. You talked about all the ATM branches, so we know people can access through there. Someone said they live in a city without your local branches, but do you have ATM fees that are reimbursed similar to other online banks?
So let me just say we have 25,000 ATMs across the country that do not charge you a fee, and that we don't charge you a fee to get money out. And you can find those easily from your cell phone. If you go to our mobile app, you can click on locations, and it will identify where you are and tell you where the surcharge-free ATMs are in your neighborhood. So it's very easy to find surcharge-free ATMs. We have made it as easy as possible, but we do recognize that there's some locations where there aren't as many ATMs, and what we would recommend is that a lot of times you can get cash back at a Walgreens or CVS, grocery store. So we really don't think you need to pay a fee to get access to your money.
Awesome. So, Travian, in terms of partnership, some people have asked, now that BME has put in $1 million, have you been able to communicate with other organizations, whether it's black churches, fraternities, sororities, celebrities, businesses, to bank black? Are they scared? Have you started a trend?
I really like this. I like the question of, are other organizations banking black, for one specific reason. I've already said that it makes sense to put your money where it does the most good. And Terry has been able to explain how OneUnited will actually give you higher interest rates on your deposit, charge you lower fees on your deposit. So this doesn't have anything to do with the bank. This has to do with you. Why aren't you spending or depositing your money where it does you the most good? So rather than taking this question or argument about, can we get more black churches, black this, black that, to deposit with black banks, I come from philanthropy. I used to be vice president of a major national foundation. I've worked with social innovation funds. I go back to them and I say, why aren't you, who can put $100 million on the street through grants, why aren't you depositing with a bank that cares about the same community that you say that you care about? Travian putting his $1 million in, or BME's $1 million in, let's be clear. Travian putting BME's $1 million in is nice, but our city governments, our major nonprofits, our major foundations have far deeper pockets, and they can bank black as well.
Let me just point out, actually Miami Gardens here is the third largest black city in the country. Mayor Oliver Gilbert actually put a $6 million deposit in the bank. He went to Wells Fargo and says we want you to diversify your team. We do banking with you. We want you to diversify your team. He went to them again and again, and they didn't diversify their team. He pulled their money out
There you go.
and put their money in OneUnited Bank. So it actually is, I'm going to say a trend, but it is definitely happening more and more. And we are appreciative of it because it really says that what we're doing, we're on the right track.
Absolutely. So, will banking Black result in more business and home loans to Black people? I know you touched on earlier that you do every service that other banks do. So, does this mean an increase? I mean, it sort of has to because they're correlated. The more money you have, right, the more you're able to do these things.
Well, let me for OneUnited Bank, our lending is real estate secured lending. So we do home loans, we do multifamily loans, we do commercial real estate. One of the things that we don't do is business loans. And that question has come up a lot. And I do want to, sort of share that we have tried this in the past. We tried doing business loans and we have lost our shirt. And we are still looking for ways to do business loans. So it isn't something that is off the table. It's not something we currently do because we realize that, from our expertise, that we weren't making money. In fact, we were losing money doing it. But it is something that we see an opportunity and a need for in our community. And there are some businesses, some Black-owned businesses that are being created to figure out ways to do better business lending to our community, and we could possibly partner with that. So that is something that we are looking at down the line.
Okay. So this is an interesting one from Facebook, specifically for OneUnited Bank. They're a new member, and they need to know how to deposit money if they don't have direct deposit set up. So for those people who have to use an ATM somewhere in another city that's not close to this bank in Florida, what if they have cash? How do they get that in the bank?
That's a very good question. So first of all, separate from cash, if you have a check, you can go to online banking and literally take a picture of your check, and that money is deposited into OneUnited. In terms of cash, there isn't a way for you to actually put cash into the bank unless you come into a branch. So that is something that everyone should know going in, that you can't sort of walk to some place and give cash. What you can do is you can transfer money from your bank or even from your prepaid debit card, as an example, and deposit it into OneUnited Bank. The only thing you can't do outside of the branch is to deposit cash.
Okay. All right. So that's good to know. Does that mean that people will probably need to keep another account at a bank in order to do that? How do we?
Well, what we find is, and I say that there may be, and this is actually the answer to this question I should know. I'll have to check with my team, but I think you can actually deposit the cash in an ATM that's not ours.
Yeah.
But I don't know the answer to
The
that.
answer is
We'll
yes.
come
The
back.
answer is yes. Rachel, you're like, yes, we
I
can.
learned something. Everybody's saying yes. All my team saying yes. So you can put cash into an ATM.
Okay,
there you go.
great. So-
25,000.
So
Yes,
there
yes,
you go.
yes.
Start with 25.
Yes.
All right, so perfect. I'm glad I asked that because that's really important.
No, that's good question, and that's it.
Okay, so I know you talked about financial literacy. So in terms of your partnership,
Yes,
how are you going
yes.
to impact financial literacy in our community? Either one of you, take it away.
So in terms of the partnership, in terms of the partnership, America, in case you couldn't tell, the partnership that we have with OneUnited is obvious that we share, values and that kind of thing. But these are real people. These are real people. These are good people. These are real good people. And so,
Same for me.
you know what I'm saying?
Thank you, Trey.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's just a fact. So for us, BME's, if you were to sort of shorthand or talk about BME's mission in the most simplest of terms, we believe in recognizing people as assets and then growing the assets of those people, right? And so this idea around financial literacy, we're big on that. We want to make sure more people understand how their dollars make sense. And obviously so is OneUnited. So we're actually going to be they already do programs around financial literacy, as you probably know. We want to partner more with them on those things, and we're looking for other opportunities.
So we're actually introducing a financial literacy video series that launches tomorrow. Tomorrow will be a press release. It'll be on our site. And it really is a series to millennials and to our community, what we say is we want our community to be financially woke.
Right.
We want us to really understand money, understand how to use money to the benefit of our community. And we do financial literacy workshops in our branch. We are doing this financial literacy series with Be Me. And there, part of the thing that we realize is that we really did have to be innovative in terms of how we educate our community about money. And that the old ways really were not working. And so we partnered with the African American Film Critics Association and Be Me to introduce this series, which will be introduced tomorrow morning.
Awesome. All right. So you talked about financial literacy, which then can lead to financial independence. And how will you assist millennials with financial independence after they graduate from college?
Well, that's a good question. We get that a lot. So let me just say, I think there are three things that people need to focus on as they're building wealth. One of them is that we need to save. And the best way to save, all wealthy people know this, and our community needs to know this, which is the best way, really, in my opinion, the only way to save is to have money taken out of your paycheck or out of your bank account and automatically deposited into a savings account before you touch it. If you touch it, you're going to spend it. That's just the way it is. And you're going to spend, when I was growing up, I used to say, okay, I'm going to save a certain amount of money, and I take my paycheck, and then I go out. At the end of the week, I would never have the amount that I was going to spend. Like, I felt like I needed to be more disciplined. I needed to do things differently. I needed to spend less so I'd have money at the end of the week or the end of the 2 weeks to save. Like, all wealthy people know that just doesn't work. You have to take the money out of your account, out of your paycheck, or take it and move it to an account sort of separately and do it automatically, and then you start to live off of what goes into your pocket,
right,
as opposed to overextending yourself. So savings, one. The second thing that we as a community need to focus on is credit. 30% of us or more has bad credit. We actually have something called the Unity Visa Secured Card. We call it the comeback card. And it's to help people rebuild their credit, because over 30% of our community has bad credit. And the way that impacts everything, every aspect of your life. It impacts whether or not you can get a loan. It impacts the cost of your insurance. It impacts, where you live and whether or not you have to pay an extra security deposit for an apartment.
The cost of your insurance?
The cost of your insurance, yes. And I know. And it sometimes can impact whether or not you get a job, because employers are now pulling your credit. So having good credit is another area that we think millennials in particular, who sometimes have a lot of student debt, need to focus on, is how to improve your credit. And it's not just the secured card, it's a whole how to rebuild credit, how to build credit program that we offer. It's on our website, and that is important for people to get. And then the third thing that I continue to say is that we need to be financially woke. We need to understand that our money needs to serve a purpose. That we have to figure out how to use our money, how to buy black, how to bank black. How do we use our money to build wealth in our communities? How do we join together? Sometimes one of us can't afford to buy a home, but if we collectively, if we get together with our family to put together the down payment and to figure out how to, as opposed to paying rent to someone else, buy a multifamily property and pay rent to yourselves. There are a lot of ways that we can do things differently, but we need to be financially woke.
Absolutely. So is Be Me a nonprofit?
We are.
Okay. So a person asks, I have an event or a nonprofit. How can I partner with OneUnited? So.
Yeah, I would say you don't have to put $1 million in the bank. Let me just tell you, we have actually a page, and this is a good question. We have a page on our site. It's oneunited.com/advocate. OneUnited, O-N-E, united.com/advocate. And that page is specifically for those of you that want to partner with us. I know we've been getting a lot of interest in partnerships, and we've had we created this page really to provide you with a location to go to, and that we will follow up with you to figure out ways that we can partner.
Wonderful. Since this was such a big thing, like you said, kind of a big hoopla, how has this impacted Be Me, or even just the way you feel about this investment in the community?
Yeah. Well, first of all, since BME is committed to building stronger communities inspired by Black men, that's actually our mission statement. For us to partner with folks like OneUnited is in our mission, right? So we felt like we were doing what we were supposed to do. And one of the things that I saw that just made me so proud was once we put the deposit and the Root ran an exclusive article on it, all these other outlets picked it up. Essence, is talking about it, and all these other publications. But the thing that really touched my heart was these Black men that we fund in these cities who are dealing with the most difficult situations, toughest communities, and have committed their lives to making things better for other people. Those brothers were so proud that we put the money on deposit with OneUnited, and they shared, and it flooded social media, and you see their chest pump out, which is really kind of funny because these men are like Atlas, and we all know guys like this. You all know an uncle, cousin, grandfather, friend of the family, who all he does is try to make things better for other people, and that's what our entire network is built on. So we felt a great swell of pride. It did bring additional attention to BME. One of the questions was whether or not we were somehow militant now, because
Why can't you just do why can't it just be all right?
But here's the thing. One of the things that just sort of cracks me up about that is there's nothing militant about banking.
Right. Yeah, I'm gonna bank Black. Take that, America.
So we need to look at the definition of that word, but no, it's had nothing but positive for us.
Well, let me just say it's mutual, and that we actually have been inspired by BME. Sometimes when you're doing this work, it's nice to find like-minded souls. Yeah. And BME's celebration of Black men, and these aren't just Black men; these are Black men that are doing incredible things in their community, and that would be doing them whether the light was shined on them or not. And that's how we are at OneUnited Bank. We've been doing this work, as you said, for over 20 years, and we're going to continue to do this work, whether the light shines on us or not, because we believe in what we're doing, and we believe that what we're doing is important to our community. So to have an organization, and we know, and I'll say personally, I know those men. I know, I'm going to sort of shame him, the Leroys of the world that do incredible things, and that people, there's Leroy Jones is his name, not just Leroy as in the name. Someone in the house that's not Leroy Jones. But more than Leroy Jones, I know those men that are in our community that work hard, and that really, because they're working hard, they don't have the time to necessarily go to their events. People don't know what they do, but I see them, and we see them, and we know what they do. And the fact that BME celebrates that, those men in our community, when what you see on TV is the opposite. I say to people, 98% of our community works every day, has good jobs, raises their kids and puts them through school, and all the media talks about is the 1 to 2% that don't do those things. And so to us, it's just been really inspiring to know that BME is there and that it celebrates our Black men.
Right. And one thing that I loved about our conversation earlier this week is that you said, we don't necessarily need to partner with everybody. You're not begging anybody to come through your doors. They're not doing you a favor, right. But you're really looking for people who want to invest in their community, who have good things in mind, want to see great things done with their money. I thought that was a really powerful statement.
Well, and I think it's more, I might have expressed it that way, but I think what is important for everyone to know is the importance of being Black owned. And that when you're Black owned, you can do what's right for the community, and you don't have to ask permission. Yeah. I know people keep saying, are you really Black owned? They think somebody who's behind me. They think somebody's actually behind me that actually owns the bank. And it's like, no, we really are Black owned. And that means that we don't have to have permission to do what's right for our community and for all communities. And so that's really what I was saying, is that I don't have to ask permission. That what we're doing is the right thing to do.
Right. That's definitely.
And we're going to do the right thing.
Yes, and that's what I took from our conversation, for sure. Yes. So this is a great question. If you've been around for 50 years, how come I never heard of you? I'm reading exactly. How come I never heard of you? Is this a scam?
They weren't paying attention.
Wow. So first of all, OneUnited Bank is actually the combining of 4 Black-owned banks. We started Boston Bank and Commerce in Boston, People's, really, you know, People's here
yes.
in Miami, Founders and Family in LA. They were all Black-owned banks. We, my husband and I, purchased these banks and combined them into one bank and changed our name to OneUnited Bank. We also are the first Black internet bank. So we were the first Black bank that you could actually go online and open up an account. So you may know us by, you know, if you live in those cities, by our predecessor banks, people, Boston Bank Commerce, but also social media and online has allowed us to get out the word more. It used to be you have to have $1 million advertising campaign to advertise on major networks to get the word out. Now through social media, and we ask everyone to share the bank with their friends and family on social media, we're able to get the word out.
So this was there was another really good one. Oh, do you plan to acquire more banks? What's the future of OneUnited?
So, first of all, there are 21 Black-owned banks across the country, and we support all of them.
Okay.
So our focus now is really to broaden our reach online, as well as broaden our reach in the cities that we currently are. And, you know, again, we may open up some offices in other cities, but we don't, at this point in time, have any plans to acquire another institution.
We need everybody to put their money in so we can do more,
Yes,
right?
Exactly.
Do you have a mascot? Who's Mona? Somebody asked about Mona. Who's Mona?
So,
Is this Mona?
No, that's actually Adania.
Adania.
But Mona is the face of the Bank Black campaign. She is, and that's a good question, because one of the questions we also get is, why is she blue? Right?
That was coming up next.
Yes,
but I wanted to identify
yes,
Mona
yes,
before I
yes.
asked why she's blue. So now that we know.
Yep. So there's actually an artist, Adonis Parker, who I thought was here. I don't see him. Who's from Miami. He's an internationally acclaimed artist, who we asked to come up with a painting that really represented our movement. He actually did a painting on the bank, a mural. If you go to OneUnited.com mural project, I believe you'll find it. But he did a painting on our mural that really represents our community. And then he painted Mona. We call her Mona. We actually started calling her Mona Lisa, but we were like, nah, that don't sound like us. So we shortened it to Mona. People ask the question why she's blue, and I actually asked the artist. I thought it was interesting that she was blue. And he said, first of all, it's creative license, and artists do whatever. You can't tell them what to do. But he also said that he was really trying to get us to focus on the movement and to recognize that colorism is still an issue in our community, and that he wanted us to focus not on whether she was light or dark, but that she was Black and part of our community. So he also did another painting, and a lot of the paintings, including Adania that you see here, he did another painting, Amir, which is a young youth that is also part of the series. And Mona is currently on our card, so you can actually get a Mona card and bake Black and show that Black card. And we will be introducing other cards with other images.
Fantastic. So they really went in on Facebook. Daphne R. wanted you to know that she has another bank that allows her to get up to $3,000 of her balance for withdrawal at the ATM. So she wants to know if you are going, because she recently tried to withdraw. I know, she's like, first of all, I want to just hang out with Daphne so we can go shoe shopping. But besides that, she tried to withdraw a lot more from her ATM with you and wants to know if you're going to up your daily ATM limit withdrawal limit.
But come on now, you know, if you take $3,000 out the ATM, nothing good.
Some designer bags can cost $2,500 plus tax. I'm just saying.
All right.
So first of all, we do have a limit, and someone may tell me what it is on our ATM withdrawals, but you actually can get an increase in your limit by contacting us, and we will review your account and could increase your limit. So it is possible on an individual basis. The reason that we have a limit is because we really need to provide people access to their money, but we also need to protect people from fraud. So if somebody can take $3,000 out of your account, they get access to your card for some reason, there's $3,000 gone. Not that you would necessarily, in fact, largely you're protected in that we would take quote the loss if somebody took the money, but you would still be out of that money for a period of time. So it is for your protection, it's for our protection. But you could, on an individual basis, if you just contact us and you want to increase in your limit, we could look at your account and possibly increase.
Okay, good to know. So Daphne, if you need to go out shoe shopping with $3,000, just know that you can call the bank and they can work with you on that. Someone said, while this came from Twitter, from Renee Darlene, while refinancing with another bank, I'm not going to say the name of the bank, but she was asked her race, and the loan officer said, "I'll put white." Does race matter during your loan process?
Wow. First of all, no, race does not matter. We, by law, are required to ask you what is your race, what is your gender. Actually, I think it's gender too, and some other questions. We are by law required. Banks are by law required to ask you those questions. Even if you're standing in front of them and you're obviously black and obviously a woman or a man, we still have to ask you. But it doesn't matter what your answer is, and that's one of the things that you can be assured of.
Let's see. I think we have a few more concerning partnership. As an organization, I know you said that you shared it with the men and it went viral, but what other ways are you actively promoting your partnership with Bank Black and or OneUnited?
Yeah, so Be Me does several things. We train other leaders around the country in asset framing, how to recognize the assets of a community, how to talk about people in ways that affirm who they are and what they offer. That's one thing. Second thing we do is we operate the largest fellowship for black men social entrepreneurs in the country. Third thing we do is we work with anybody of any race who cares about education, economic opportunity, these things that make communities stronger. And fourth, we have partnerships with media. We have partnerships with folks like NBC. We have partnerships with folks like Huffington Post. We have partnerships with local media. We provide content. We tell the stories of these communities and who's working to solve the problems that you are facing. And it turns out that in the stories we tell, the hero is sometimes black, often black. And the hero might be white, the hero might be male, the hero might be female. But the point is, we tell the stories of what this community is doing to make itself stronger. And OneUnited comes up in those stories. Last year, before the Essence story broke, we did an article for NBC called 5 Reasons to Spend Black, even if it wasn't Bank Black, it was Spend Black. 5 Reasons to Spend Black, even if you're white, right? And we ran the story, and we gave the example of what OneUnited is doing to make its community stronger. So this partnership, as I said, is organic, and it transcends, it works through all of our programs, and one of the things we're able to do is in other media talk about what folks are doing to make their community stronger, and OneUnited is a partner.
This question comes from me. What do we want our viewers and everyone in the room to really understand tonight about us being here and what empowerment of the community means?
What we really want people to understand is that we are the ones that we've been waiting for. That we actually have the power within our community to lift our community up. We have the skills, we have the expertise, we have the knowledge, we have the resources. We spend $1.2 trillion a year.
That's a lot.
1.2 trillion. We spend more than most countries. So we have the power within our community to lift our community up. What we need is we need to be connected, and that's what OneUnited does. It connects us. If you go to our social media, you will find that all positive stories, the stories that you don't, read in the local papers, and that those stories connect us. We need to understand that we not only should, as you say, spend black, buy black, bank black, but we should be unapologetically black, and that this movement is about more than moving your money. It is about moving your mind, and it is also about really connecting emotionally. Because I know that there are some of us in our community that are that feel a sense of negativity about who we are, and that have a tendency to think, oh, well, they don't offer good service, or they don't know what they're doing. And what I would say to those individuals is to give us a chance, to recognize that actually if we're in business, Black people in business, we know that we need to be twice as good. And if you give us a chance, that you will be shocked by how well this experience goes. And to also be in touch with the fact that maybe there is a need to start questioning how you're using your money and to start using it more purposefully.
This has been amazing. I've learned so much, and I'm so energized and excited to tell everyone I know about how collective economics can really transform our community. So, America, if you're listening, you need to change your mindset. We need to move our money. We need to move our minds, as you said, to come together, to bank Black, to shop Black, to be unabashedly supportive of our community. So this was just absolutely wonderful. Now, 2017 is coming. It's the year of Bank Black. And Terry, I'm just going to let you wrap it up.
Oh no! I want to share something.
There's more?
Yeah, I want to share something.
There's more knowledge. Drop it.
Look, I know you want to wrap, but that last question you asked. So, the bank obviously works on the economic stuff. The thing with Be Me that I want people to. There's two things that I want you to take away from this. One is we come from a perspective that we are assets, that the nation not only needs us now, has always needed us, and that we are only going to tell the truth about who we are. And we think it's really important that it doesn't matter what other people call you. It only matters what you answer to. And we have to tell the truth about ourselves, walk with that pride that OneUnited does, and then work together on the things that we know we all care about. That's one. And the second message that I would want to land with people is, I mentioned that we have a fellowship where we fund brothers who are making it happen in their communities, who are humble but hardworking. We are open for new submissions right now. We call it our call for stories. If you go to bmecommunity.org, you can apply. The application is really simple, really fast, because we know that people don't want to spend a lot of time digging through a bunch of nonsense. If you do win, you have an opportunity to not only get the fellowship and the branding and the national recognition and the local recognition, but we'll give you $10,000 for the project that you're working on, and we'll connect you to other brothers who have the same type of commitment as you do. So there's two things. One is know yourself, know who you are, answer to only the good. And second is there's an opportunity to be rewarded for that. The only caveat is that fellowship is only available in Akron, Ohio, Miami, Florida, Philadelphia, PA, and Pittsburgh, PA, this time around. If you want it in your city, tell your grant makers to look us up.
Awesome.
Fabulous. Well, I just want to say thank you all. I want to say thank you all who tuned in. I want to say thank you all that are here. First of all, thank you for being here. Yes.
You've been so quiet. Yes.
So quiet. And I also want to say that this movement is really about you. It's about us. It's about our community. And it truly is about us understanding the power within. We will be answering all the questions, because I know that there were more questions. So we definitely will be answering those questions over the next few months in our blog articles. But we also do want you to just tune in and really, and this is the other thing. I read all the comments on social media. I read all of them. So if you commented, I read it. And we learn, yes. And I learn from your comments. So keep your comments coming. And, again, Bank Black in 2017.
Absolutely. So, America, thank you so much for being with us this evening. This is Terry Williams, Travian Shorters. I'm Kaylin Chapman James. Change your mind, move your money. You are valuable. Our community is valuable, and we need to find that value and make it work. Yeah? All right. Thanks, America. Good night. #BankBlack. OneUnited.com.